So welcome to the next module. So in this one, we'll talk about MCC, or the Merchant Category Code, and really the industry that you're placed into when you're actually selling a product and what that means to not only your overall risk profile, but your pricing. When you select and set up with the payment provider, a lot of times you'll get an application or the option to select what you're selling. And so whether you're selling, let's say, clothes, or maybe it's a coaching service, or maybe it's, let's say, electronics, or lumber, or anything, everything is categorized by what's called an MCC, or a Merchant Category Code. So when a processor is setting you up, they're putting you into this bucket or this industry based on exactly what you're selling. So it's very important in terms of making sure that you have a distinction of what you're selling online and understand what this means in terms of like the risk profiling and how you're set up. It's very important to understand your MCC because, let's say in the likes of a coaching or a creator business, when you're designated that MCC, it typically will increase the rate, and there's more scrutiny when the actual underwriter looks at the business. So these are noted at the time of application, and it's underwritten that way. On the likes of, let's say, a retail restaurant, so something non-specific to or online seller, but somebody that is, a retail brick and mortar business and, selling food or coffee, for example, that is a very low industry risk matrix. And so the pricing is lower in some cases. There can be express pay merchants and things of that nature that can be loaded up, and pricing can change, and it's a little bit less scrutinized because the likelihood of a chargeback in that industry is much less. So when they're looking at it, again, the MCC will then bucket you again into a pricing model, and then it also buckets you in how you're underwritten. So there's a massive difference between a coaching business or, let's say, somebody that is selling coffee at a local coffee shop. The other thing too is that you don't want to be general in nature. So a lot of times I see MCC codes that are like 5999, which is a general miscellaneous retail, right? That could be anything that's out there. This can actually impact performance. So actually post underwriting, once you're approved, in some cases when transactions are being matched up and somebody tries to purchase, it could turn it down because of an MCC code. Sometimes they can be less willing to push that transaction through for a miscellaneous retail store. So you want to make sure that whatever you are setting up with, there's some clarity there, and it is shown on your applications. A lot of times as a merchant, you can select your actual MCC, or again, the Merchant Category Code, in order to show exactly what you're selling. So again, very important to be able to determine not only your pricing structure, but how you're evaluated from an underwriting perspective, and also how that performs in the back end when a customer is looking to actually make that purchase. The other piece we wanted to get into here was around pricing. And so again, the MCC will dictate some of the pricing, but we'll go into detail on pricing in the next module. And there's 3 different pricing options that are available. You'll have interchange pricing, which has been pretty standard one, and that's really geared for some of these enterprise merchants. You have flat rate pricing, which is very popular. Obviously Stripe, Square, these bigger brands, they offer flat rate pricing. And then you have what's called tiered pricing, or it could be blended pricing as well. So we'll get into that in the next module, but thank you for tuning in, and see you in the next one.